Hi everyone, it's Joel and Andy at Codebreak on the Stay Hungry podcast. It's an Ahead of the Game episode. Let's go. Andy, how you doing?
Feeling responsible, feeling empowered, which is handy.
What a smooth start to the podcast.
Oh yeah, this is what we're going to be talking about today. With great power comes great responsibility. I wish I'd said that, but it wasn't. It was Uncle Ben, wasn't it?
Not the rice.
Not the rice. There's an excellent episode of Only Fools and Horses back in the day where Del and his mates go for an Indian restaurant and his mates are like all ordering like, oh, what kind of rice do you want? Oh, I'll have our pilau. Oh, have you got any basmati? And then of course comes to Del Boy.
Trigger
Have you
or
got,
Del
got
Boy,
any
yeah.
Uncle Ben's?
Yeah.
Mind you, Uncle Ben's quite nice. Not as nice as my mum's rice.
Uncle
though.
Ben's rice is quite nice.
it's all
I
right.
like those microwave packets.
Oh, the Tilda.
Uncle Ben's do them, don't they? But like the Mexican ones that got all the beans in.
Oh, lovely.
I'm into those, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Anyway, we're not here to talk about rice, although we could do.
A lot of
because
responsibility comes with rice.
I have got corn curry for lunch that Emma made, and corn korma curry.
That sounds good.
Really nice, really nice. It's got loads of onions.
What
in
have I got? I can't even remember what it's called. What's the crumbly stuff made from
Feta.
chickpeas?
Hummus? No.
No, it's like hard hummus. What's that called?
And it sounds really shit.
I can't remember. Anyway, I've got that in a wrap. I can't wait. There's a shop in Shrewsbury that sell it in wraps. What's that? I can't. The word's lost. Gone.
Falafel.
Falafel. That's it.
Oh,
I've got a falafel
God.
wrap.
Oh no, I can't. Some people go crazy about falafels. You know, we should do a food podcast.
Good falafel, I think, is probably amazing. But
I remember I had my first burrito at some Star Wars convention because you told me how wonderful burritos were. Oh, it was just bloody rice in like a chapati.
Oh right.
It was just off some dodgy stand, but it was like I don't think I had a burrito since.
I love burritos.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you get a burrito from around here?
No idea.
Subway?
Oh, I've had Okra in Shrewsbury do a good burrito.
Still haven't been there. The vegan restaurant.
Yeah,
Are they reopened and doing all right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Big market. Although you asked me to name my sort of favourite vegan meals, I ended up just going all fish.
Yeah.
Scallops with bacon
really
and
count,
black pudding and lobster thermidor, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get back to Uncle Ben?
So great power comes great responsibility. So I think, obviously, you've come up with this topic, and as a business owner, I think where you're coming from here is it's promotion season at Codebreak at the moment, and basically, if you want to be promoted in a business, or if you want to own a business, or if you want to be seen as top of your game in an industry, you have to accept the responsibility that comes with that.
Absolutely. I'm all about empowerment because from what I seem to be seeing online, loads of people feel disempowered. Well, I want to give my guys, clients, everyone, I want to give people, I want to empower them, but they have to accept that with that power comes responsibility. You can't have one or the other. You can't say, oh, you're disempowering me. I want power. Okay, when something goes wrong, you need to take responsibility. And you've got this, oh, hang on, governor. I'm Teflon coated. It wasn't my fault. You can't have it both ways.
Teflon coated is the best thing you've ever told me about.
Teflon.
I mean,
do people know what Teflon is?
No, that's the problem. Yeah, no one has Teflon anymore, do they?
So what's a non-stick pan covered in then?
Well, yeah. No, they will be.
Must be Teflon.
Yeah, I've got Teflon pans. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, well.
It's that whole not accepting responsibility. Like we've got a big thing here about apologising. Because we're British, we'll say sorry all the time. You know, you hold the door open for someone, you accidentally, go near someone in the car. Oh, sorry,
step the same direction in the street.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my God. And it's such a, we're brought up from birth, really, aren't you? You must say your please and thank yous and apologise. Where it's like, no. Say sorry if you've done something wrong. Take ownership. Take it on the chin if you've done something wrong. Don't try and dodge out of it. But then, of course, if you haven't done anything wrong, don't apologise. Like when someone rings here and they want to say, speak to you, Joel. If someone answers the phone and says, oh, sorry, Joel isn't in, I'd go mental. It's like, why are you sorry that Joel's in a meeting? You're sorry that Joel's busy.
I was thinking about this the other day because Americans don't do this. It's a very British trait to...
So rude.
I think it's kind of ingrained in us to kind of bow down a little bit. So to almost show either we're on the same level or I'm a bit lower than you. So you'll say, oh, I'm ever so sorry. And it's almost like in a British mentality, you're disarming the other person. Oh, they're sorry, they must be nice. And actually, society's a bit harsher than that. So you'll see with Americans something that British people get annoyed about with Americans is a lot of service people in America will end your conversation by saying, "Have a nice day."
Oh, thanks.
But how much more positive is that than, "Oh, sorry to have taken up your time."
Yeah, it's hard one to explain. I think some people, maybe even a couple of people in our team, will be thinking, "Oh, they're being really." I mean, what difference does one word make? And it's like I'm almost on a mission to show the power of words, saying
Psychology.
sorry, saying thanks for your time yesterday. Oh, hang on, mate. What do
You
you
had
mean?
my time too.
Yeah, my time. You're the one that's got sort of free marketing advice, and obviously you might become a client, Mr. Prospect or Mrs. Prospect, Ms. Prospect. You might not become a client, but either way, I've condensed my experience into an hour with you, giving you some free marketing tips. Either work with us, don't. That's up to you. But yeah, I don't thank you for your time.
Yeah, we're all grateful.
Yeah,
Everybody's grateful.
It's like people who start and when you get spam emails, which are bad enough anyway. But when the spam email starts with, "Sorry to be taking up your time," or "Sorry for the intrusion," but also straight away one, you spam people, which is wrong. But secondly, if you're trying to sell something, you're trying to help people, and you're starting off by apologising.
Yeah. Because that's such an important point. If you're genuinely confident in your product or service that it will help the people that you're putting your ads in front of, don't apologise for that. But if it's a public information film and you start out, "Sorry, we just need 5 minutes of your time," even then, you've diminished the importance of the public information film.
I say this a lot now, but consciously or subconsciously, it will make a difference. Like we're big fans of Amex. Obviously, other credit cards are available, and I need to set up an additional card with them. So I called them up, spoke to literally the loveliest bloke in the world. But I had to say to him, I says, whatever his name was, Dan, stop apologising, because you misheard a number I was reading out. Or he must have said sorry about a dozen times in this phone call. I was like, "Dan, you're helping me. You're really polite. You sound cool. You got nothing to be sorry about."
Yeah, that was nice of you.
Well, yeah, I mean, whether it helped him or not,
It's just annoying you, so you need to stop
he
it.
might be thinking, this bloke's admonished me for being polite. But there's obviously a massive difference between being polite and being a bit soft, where some people might think, how confident are you in your product or service?
Yeah. I've spoken to Amex before, and their customer service levels.
Got some points built up now, haven't we? Where should we go?
Don't tell everyone.
Oh,
We've been spending too much money on advertising. We've got
let's
lots
go
of
to
Amex
Telford
points.
for the night. Let's treat
We
ourselves.
can stay in a socially distanced hotel in Wrexham.
Well, so one of Emma's friends stayed at Premier Inn, got a family room, 3 nights, 90 quid. It's like, brilliant.
I'm in the doghouse.
Oh, why?
There's a pun here. I'm meant to be going to York next weekend.
Good Viking museum. That's all I know about
I'd
York.
be well into that. And obviously the architecture is meant to be a beautiful city and stuff. But due to staycations...
I'm not having your dog.
Well, there you go. Due to staycations, I suspect York is going to be absolutely rammed beyond belief. So I'm not keen on that idea, but it was one of the...
Because of just people. Like when you went to that model village place or whatever.
Yeah, when I went to Bakewell for a Bakewell, it was just anxiety-inducing.
You did have a Bakewell tart though, didn't you?
I had all 3 versions.
Oh, didn't know there were 3.
The Bakewell pudding, Bakewell tart and Bakewell slice.
All got cherry and icing or something else. Right?
Loosely, yeah.
Bloody hell. Anyway, sorry, George. What about George?
Exactly. What about George is one issue. George is the dog, for listeners, who's recently acquired. And the other is the anxiety-inducing idea of being in a crowd of thousands of people. I can't be doing that at the moment. So I've had to put the brake. It was a birthday present too. So I've had to basically say, "Oh, all your birthday presents have been cancelled because of COVID. I think I need to cancel this one too."
So if you found a dog-friendly hotel in York, would you take George?
Yeah, he's great in crowds and with people and stuff. But
you just don't want the thought of it.
One, you try finding a hotel at the moment. Tried that trick.
Oh, right, okay.
And 2, I think it's still going to be absolutely packed.
Yeah, I've got no. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, so some people might say I don't like people generally, but loads of people. I mean, I even went onto the retail park yesterday. I guess it's the day before most kids went back to school, and it was rammed. And as soon as I pulled onto the car park, I was like, oh God, loads of people. And there were 2 girls, and they didn't look similar, so I'm going to assume they weren't sisters. They were just friends walking through Sainsbury's without masks on. Now, of course, You can't say anything because one might have, well, in fact, both of them might have had asthma, because neither of them were wearing masks.
I've got a really divisive point to raise at this moment.
Go on.
Right? If you've got an illness that means you can't wear a mask, probably a good idea you don't go to a supermarket during a global pandemic.
Oh, but I live on my own, Joel. I've got no one to get my food in. I haven't got a computer to order food online.
It freaks me out. If you're so ill you can't wear a mask for 10 minutes, don't go in the supermarket.
So do you know? So I told Emma that story, and she said the tannoy in Sainsbury's. She goes, every now and then they'll read out a message on the tannoy saying, please don't approach anyone without a mask because they could have an underlying condition you don't know about. So clearly some people have been having a go at people without masks. And it's like, I don't know if it's the woke attitude or that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, no, I think it's important that accessibility is maintained for everybody. So if someone needs shopping, they should be able to get it. But hopefully we're in a position now where with online shopping, with partners in the community, so Georgia in our team signed up to help people with underlying conditions where she'd literally go and do their shopping for them, that there are ways around it. If you're popping in to get a lottery ticket and you're refusing to wear a mask, that isn't very fair on everybody else.
Yeah. And shame on you if you're one of these people on LinkedIn doing posts like, should you wear a mask? Yes or no? If you're doing clickbait shit like that, I hope LinkedIn blocks you because it's such a cheap, nasty way to try and get traction on a debate. I'll tell you what's scary, though, is that a load of the comments are like, well, yes, it's infringed upon my human rights. They just ask you to put a bloody mask on for 10 minutes, for fuck's sake. Are you really? Is it that bad to put 2 bits of string over your ears whilst you do your shopping in the hope that it could help prevent the spread of COVID?
Yeah.
I'm just... Oh, we can have a right now. I'm staggered.
I don't know many underlying conditions that mean you can't wear a mask. That's what.
My mother-in-law obviously had, mid-80s, had a heart operation, has a few breathing difficulties, so she doesn't really want to wear a mask. It makes her a bit anxious. So guess what? We do her shopping for her, and she's happy with that.
So I guess this is loosely all about responsibility because at the moment.
Well, thank God for that. I forgot what we were talking about. Then.
I was going to say at the moment everybody's got a significant responsibility to each other. If you're one of those people that doesn't really take care in washing your hands, spraying down surfaces, wearing a mask in the supermarket, you're not really contributing to the communal effort that's going on at the minute.
Yeah. I mean, got to say, lovely. Literally 99 out of 100 people I saw on the retail park were wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That's great. It's just that 1% who always thinks the law doesn't apply to them or it won't matter. It's a virus, you tit. It only takes one person.
Yeah.
It's madness really. Anyway, responsibility. Should we?
Well, I've got a good example,
go on.
but it'll bring up some debate.
Oh, go on. We have a healthy debate.
Are you aware of Gary Lineker?
Yeah, he used to play football. Big ears. Is that right?
Yeah, presents Match of the Day now and other football shows.
He got the golden boot in some World Cup.
Italia 90s, correct. So
I used to be into football.
He is quite outspoken on social media in terms of.
I saw his Black Lives Matter tweet. Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, so he's quite outspoken on social media. Now, his opinions pretty much align with mine on things. I'm not saying that my opinion is right. That's just where I am with it. So someone tested him on he was getting upset about migrants coming across the channel in terms of how people were berating these migrants. And Gary Lineker's very much like, they're from war-torn countries. You can't understand what they've been through. Britain doesn't have a visa system where they can apply before they get here. You can only seek asylum if you're on our shores.
Oh, right. So he wasn't commenting about football then?
No. He very rarely comments about football anymore.
He's a political expert. Okay.
But he puts himself out there. So the situation is, in this country, you can't apply for asylum unless you're on our shores.
Right, okay.
Which is why people try to illegally get onto our shores. So he was saying, back off everyone. Yes, they're illegal immigrants, but there's no other way of claiming asylum here. You can be a visa immigrant and come and work here, but you can't claim asylum.
If you're in a war-torn country and you want asylum in Britain, you've got to be on Britain's shores to get it.
Exactly. Okay. Unless we do an asylum programme, which we have done in the past, I think. Anyway, someone said, all right then, you've got a mansion. Why don't you house someone? So he has.
Right. Oh, really?
And all hell's broken loose. Twitter was in meltdown this morning.
What? Because everyone else wants to stay at Gary Lineker's house.
Well, no, people so much easier for you to do it because you've got a mansion.
Oh God!
Well, hang on, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't really care what side of the debate you're on. What he's done there is use his wealth and his means to help alleviate the situation. So he initially was using his power to get his opinion across and speak to a lot more people than you or I could speak to. But when someone asked him to take responsibility, in my view, he kind of did. So what that now people are attacking him saying, yeah, but now you're just making the problem worse because people think they can come here and live in mansions. Well,
yeah, it's a tricky thing. It's and to be honest, one of the many reasons I stay away from Twitter is because of those. Much easier to have an ongoing debate / argument on Twitter than many other social media channels. And it is annoying when people use their celebrity status to comment on stuff, to be honest, they don't really know about. Obviously, some people are a lot more educated about worldly matters and political matters than others. Sounds like he's done something good, but to be honest, you'll never win. And it's something we talk about a lot, that, one of the jobs when we onboard a client is actually to make them more visible to more of the right people. But you will also get exposed to some of the wrong people, which means a few more dickheads will enter your life, and you might, when you stick your head above the parapet, basically, which is, again, our job to stick our client's head above the parapet, they'll come under a bit more criticism. And they need to be okay with that, because it can be difficult. But you've got to also take that responsibility.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, there are some people out there who don't want to market themselves more because they don't want that responsibility of what do I say to a dickhead? Do I ignore a dickhead? It's too much. And if it causes too much, obviously, anxiety and stress, it's a bad thing, and you might not want to get involved. Or you use someone like us who deals with that shit for you.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes there really is no right or wrong. And that argument you sent me, the guy who was unhappy about having to wait 12 minutes to get served at some pub, and he just started effing and blinding and all this. It's social media can be for all the good it does, it can also be a very vitriolic place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got to know these unwritten rules of etiquette and these unwritten rules of how to conduct yourself responsibly. Because, the George Bernard Shaw quote I refer to a lot, never wrestle with a pig. Basically don't sink to their level. You get dirty and the pig likes it. And it's so true. It's so true. So if anyone's listening and they're getting trolled or encountering dickheads in their business online, just give us a call.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And I think, there's a lot of celebrities that do what we've just mentioned as well, where they use their celebrity, and depending where you sit on it, they're using their celebrity for good or for bad, or because they have a louder voice than most. That you've got to expect that because of that, people that disagree with your opinion are going to throw shit at you.
Yeah, and you can't moan about it. Again, you have to take some responsibility. If you want to use social media for your own good, and that literally could be to do good stuff, or it could be to promote your business better, you've got to accept the shit that could come with it. Now, again, the overwhelming feedback, I'm sure, if you're a decent, ethical person running a good business, trying to help people, the resounding feedback will be positive. But there'll always be a few people, and obviously the more famous you are, the more shit will come your way. And I guess you've got to be pretty thick-skinned, or you've got some agent or someone handling that for you. Because was it someone we had on the podcast saying about how they don't know celebrities do it because they get quite upset when a little bit of shit gets thrown at them? Imagine what it must be like for someone like Gary Lineker
all day,
or whatever.
Every day, yeah. I mean, it's a difficult world, isn't it? That because there's influencers, celebrities, famous people who present facts on social media and still get hammered because facts don't mean anything anymore, basically.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from? Oh, that was you'll never win. I'm maybe more defeatist than you. I'd rather I want to
pick your battles.
Yeah, and get on with my evening. And it's something we both advise clients to, is like, don't bite it. Me and you doing this such a long time, we can spot someone who's worth having a debate with, or
A troll.
could be reasoned with, versus a dickhead.
Yeah.
And so that pub example you sent me, if it was me running the pub, I wouldn't have engaged that person at all. I would have blocked them and got on with my evening.
Yeah, and I think there's a strong argument for smothering people with kindness as well. That sometimes someone can say something shit, and you can just do a pleasant reply and leave it, as long as it's not passive aggressive. A pleasant reply, and then the whole world can see, well, there's only one dickhead in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you ban them. Have the last word. Very important. Yes, something I like. But it is. I mean, there are some people we know who seem to have time on their hands to go back and forth, but not me. Hi there, it's Andy at Codebreak. Thanks for listening to the Stay Hungry podcast. It's business owners like you that keep the wheels of the world turning. Did you know that Codebreak offers a marketing consultancy service? Visit codebreak.co.uk today and book your discovery call with me or Joel, and let's skyrocket your business together. We can't wait to hear about your goals.
We can't wait.
I sound too enthusiastic on that, I think. I sound very tall as well, I like that.
You sound tall.
Or am I just kidding myself?
No, you sound really tall, Andy.
Yeah, I sound overly enthusiastic on that one, or is there such a thing? Are you talking about your business? I love seeing enthusiasm online. There's a client, we got a client, and there's a member of staff who's been on holiday, and she's come back, and her first post is just beautiful. You can, unless she's just a very good liar, just her enthusiasm leaps off the page, and it's hard to convey emotion sometimes, unless you just chuck a load of emojis in there on a social media post. But she loves what she does. She loves helping people, and if you could bottle up that enthusiasm, brilliant. But I know at some point she'll come under fire. So someone will get out of the wrong side of bed.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll have a go. And luckily, I don't think she's the sort of person who would stop using social. Whereas we know lots of people who've literally had to come away from it because they can't handle that responsibility of, they'll take all the good stuff, they'll milk all the good stuff.
But as soon as the bad,
as soon as bad stuff happens, they go and have a rant. And again, it's like, well, this was likely to happen. And again, it's a small percentage, but you can't have both. You can't empower yourself by sharing your wisdom, whether that's right or not, on social, and then start crying and having a melt when someone throws some mud back.
I think 18 months ago I'd have struggled with that. Where obviously you're aware that pretty much on a weekly basis now someone throws some shit at me, and I'm all right now. To a point where sometimes I enjoy it too much. But
David Goggins, right? You're not sure about him. Very tough man, very hard man, been through a load of shit. Even he said on one of his podcasts, every now and then someone will make a comment on social media that will get through to him.
Yeah.
So if it happens to Goggy, it's okay if it happens to you.
Yeah, well, but also now I can identify when I'm upsetting the right people, which is such a strange thing to say on a podcast. Sounds incredibly arrogant. Don't mean it like that at all.
Like when your quote isn't accepted. And what's that phrase said the other day about our prices reflect our experience, not your budget, or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good example. Or like when someone who I know is the complete opposite of our customer avatar and also has entirely different values to me, and then they turn around and say, I don't like your content. Bloody brilliant, because it's not for you.
Cleaned our database, lovely, thanks very much.
Yeah, and just, great, stop following me, go away. And it's not arrogance, it's sanity. It's trying to see the wood for the trees a little bit, and sometimes realising that it doesn't matter what you achieve or how many people you try to help, some people will see that as negative and throw crap at you.
And I think I feel sorry for them. I just picture that guy that Kevin Smith plays in Die Hard 4, the digital Jedi, whatever he calls himself. He's an online whiz, but he actually lives in his mum's basement. And I think if an email pisses you off or social media pisses you off or whatever, just unfollow that person or unsubscribe from their emails. Why bother replying?
Yeah.
Just get on with your evening. Unless obviously it's something like, I don't know, they say something that's so stupid and out there about Black Lives Matter and you're black and you'll take it really personally. You had to put up a load of racial abuse. And there are some things where, right, I'm going to have this person. But generally speaking, okay, what's an example for me? I don't know. I'm British Asian, so I've experienced my share of racism, and sometimes I'll see racist shit, and I want to get involved, but no, I'll delete that person or unfollow them, and I'll go and sit and play with my kids instead.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also know you're the kind of person that if that shit's aimed at you, you could brush it off. If it was aimed at somebody you cared about.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where I fall too, is that sometimes even when you know you shouldn't bite, you just have to. So,
Yeah, it's. I mean, some people they literally that's how they grow their social media presence. So Katie Hopkins, I suppose, is a. I think she's still been banned from Twitter, isn't she? Good. It's almost like something's black. I'm going to say it's white, and you know what? She will. Donald Trump. There are people who will appeal to a selection of the population,
yeah,
and they will build their tribe. Now, it won't be a tribe for you or maybe the person next to you, but it will be someone's tribe. I could go out there online and start posting a right load of shit, and someone would identify with it, which is quite scary and depressing, really.
Yeah. Right. Let's put that to bed.
Oh, okay. Was that a quick one?
No more trolls. Oh, no, not stop at the podcast.
Oh, thank goodness for that. We've only been going 4 hours.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the core responsibilities of a business owner are?
Oh, blimey. Earn tons of money. No, of course not. To give back.
That's my number one.
So I tend to work off percentages. So whether that's percentage of turnover that we spend on our marketing, but also the more we earn, the more I want to give back. So lockdown, tough time for everyone. And I'm not saying it's easy street at the moment, but things are good because we work so bloody hard. And so I'm cycling 250 miles this month for diabetes. So there we go. I've only set a goal of 250 quid, and I'm sure my mum's already said she's going to give quite a bit of money. So hopefully I'll smash that target. And I put in the time aside and obviously I suppose the selfishness is it will help with my fitness, but I want to give back to a charity that does some good stuff and I believe in, and being a business owner allows me to do that, or being the sort of business owner I want to be. Now, of course, there's nothing to stop our employees going off on their bike and doing 250 miles, but they might think that, well, I haven't got the time to do that. But I'd rather go off, cycle 30 miles in the afternoon, and then I'll just work in the evening.
Yeah.
And so giving back, whether it's to charity, whether it's to the local community, whether it's to our own staff, of course, whether it's training our staff, treating them to pizza last Thursday, whenever it was, and just hopefully making Codebreak a nice place to work at. Pressured at times, obviously, and again, you can't have both, because if all we did was eat pizza and watch telly, guess what? Someone would have to get made redundant.
It's a work hard, play hard environment, and
you can't have it both.
Yeah, it's not going to be for everyone. The responsibility of operating like we do is that you have to accept that comes with a level of pressure. Which is tough. It's tough. Sometimes I can't switch off. I've had to employ techniques to teach myself to switch off, but that's the job. So anyway, number one is basically the more you give, the more you get. That's what you I think that's where you're heading with that. The responsibility of a business owner is to always give back.
Yeah, for me, I know some very rich, very tight people. Now, there's some people like Bill Gates out there who are like philanthropists, but even he'll come under fire. Like when it says, oh, he's donated 50 billion. Some smart ass will always, oh yeah, but he's worth 150 billion, so it's all right for him. But
it's all right. You give £1 for the £3 you earn.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly. Always throw it back. But there are, well, I don't know what Jeff Bezos gives away. I'm sure he does some good, maybe doesn't. I don't know. But
you don't just mean because there'll be business owners that have about 2 pennies to rub together, but they give an awful lot of their time to their community.
And yeah, but some would give too much, and that's the balance again. You can't. You have to be commercial as well, which sort of we struggle with sometimes, because sometimes ethics, commercialism, there's a bit of a thick grey line between the two. Because if you're so busy doing good, you take your eye off the ball. I talked about if we if all we did was just eat pizza and watch telly all the time, we wouldn't have a business. The first office share I did was with this really cool company, really fun guys. But I was amazed they just never really seemed to do any work. I thought, bloody hell, if I have to go back into the employed world, I'd love to work here because it just seems like really, really fun. There's never any pressure. In my naivety, I thought that was a good thing. And of course, what happened? The business went bump. And sometimes, okay, you've got to put your commercial head on. And that, so we've got one main charity. I mean, we've got a chosen charity, and we'll support other ones now and then, but we've got one main chosen charity. Because if we try to help everyone, suddenly it's like, oh, Joe, we got no money this month. And it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, well, there's that element to it. And I also think the element of burnout. So, we support one charity, and there's another charity we've helped with time, not donations. But if we tried to help loads more,
and you know how much time went into that.
Yeah, you lose your effectiveness. So I would rather help one or two. They're not just charities. It could be a community centre. It could be a local football team. It could be a kids' football team. It could be just numerous things. It could be offering counselling to other business owners. I know business owners that do that. But you're better off focusing on one or two things and doing them well than spreading yourself too thin, and not only damaging the help that you're giving, but damaging your own business, maybe damaging your own personal life. You've got to have that balance, because then you're actually helping people more. And the beauty of kind of what we do is, whether it's paid work, whether it's charity work, everything we do is actually helping people. And I think for most businesses that's the case. If you can get yourself into the mindset that what is the best way I can help this person with my skill set, that is way better than saying what's the most I can sell this person.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, to be honest, that's almost a kind of power. And again, it will come with that responsibility to know, right, okay, well, I know I can devote X amount of hours a week to help this charity, whatever it might be, that's not going to be of detriment to my business. But also I suppose the more maybe the more well known you become in your circle, for example, the more effectively you market yourself, people will start not looking up to you. That's probably the wrong phrase, but you might be, they might ask you for advice.
Yeah.
And that's something else that I know we found hard, that as we grew and grew, more people started wanting our expertise.
Yeah.
And pick your brains is a famous phrase you use. Oh, Joel, can I just pick your brains for 5 minutes? Now, we know in the days of yore, we would have said yes to everyone. Do you meet up for a coffee, Andy? Oh, Joel, can I just pick your brains about this? And before you know it, you spent an hour and a half giving free advice to someone, and you're like, well, that's an hour and a half I could have spent helping my charity, or helping my staff grow, or helping onboard a new client better.
Yeah.
And you have to draw the lines, and that's hard. Having to say no is a very liberating but a very scary word, because we've both done it quite recently, where we try to help family members and wish you hadn't bloody bothered.
I'm still struggling with that one now.
Because we want to say yes, don't we? But some people say never work with friends or family, and that's probably a true line in business.
So your responsibility number 2, knowing when to say no.
Yeah, and saying no will be better for your business than saying yes.
Better for your life. Better for your life.
Yeah. Will it help my loved ones? Will it help you? /Codebreak.
I'm not one of your loved ones.
That's you're on the border. Another couple of years you might be. To break into that circle of trust,
I'm funny,
and it's almost like, if the answer is no, it won't, I have to make a serious thought about that, because I want to help someone. Right? Will it help my loved ones? Will it help Joel and the business? And then like members of staff? No. Then you know what? I won't do it.
Yeah, one thing I nearly apologised for it before I said it. Then we've turned away more business this year than we've probably done in the 8 or 9 years preceding this year.
And that's something else people definitely don't like. They don't like to be told no. That's probably why it's so hard. But it's like, what, my money's not good enough, for example.
Yeah, it's really hard. I still find it hard, but I know I can identify the kind of jobs now that will never be able to help those people, so I shouldn't take that work on in the first place. 2, they might be overstretching themselves. And again, I should never take that
Can't see
work
it.
on it.
You've got to take risks, but if what you're about to spend is going to cost you sleepless nights, you've got to be a special person to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And if you're not, we'd rather not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess the third is that their values don't align with ours. And
Yeah, you got more of those than I have.
I mean, Codebreak's values, let's be clear. So,
Take the money, Joel. What are you doing, man?
and I think what we found is that our staff are happier for it. We're happier for it.
Oh, we've worked for some dickheads. And that's the morale.
And it's fair to say that the phrase dickhead's subjective. So, some people that we think are dickheads, other people will love working with, and that's cool too. There's a marketing agency
Some
for
people
them.
are just dickheads. But no, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking of one guy, not recent, but like early in the year. He was a nice guy, but just kept changing his mind about what we'd agreed, which made for a very discordant relationship.
That's happened twice this year. No, one was last year, one was this year.
Okay.
Weirdly, both sell the same thing.
Yes, yeah, and it's not. Now, we have to stress to the team. It can't all be pizza and rose petals. There has to be some pressure, but that pressure shouldn't come off dickheads. That's pressure that me and you, if we've done our jobs, they shouldn't even get near them.
There's absolutely no need for any negativity to hit our team, because if something's not going wrong, if something's not going right, it's not for the want of trying.
Yeah.
And sometimes proven techniques just won't work for your business, but the beauty is we'll be trying hard to use a different technique, and we just don't need to hear your shit. Like, I'm not going to ring you up and tell you a load of horrible negative crap, so please don't do it to us.
Yeah, and business owners have to take that responsibility to say no. It is a hard thing to do, and some people don't want to do it. It literally is too much of a responsibility. But again, as you grow, I think you'll probably have to say no more often if you want to continue to grow, because you can't help everyone.
Do you know what I find the hardest to say no to?
Is it me? Hannah?
I don't think I've ever said
George.
no to you. Friends and family find it very difficult.
That's why you got me. I said, Joel,
I'm your only friend, Joel.
Don't fucking do it. Don't do it.
No, but you
Partly that's selfish again, though, because I know you're just going to come to work and moan to me about it. But I want you to do the same to me. If I say, oh, my brother's asked if I can build him a website.
I'll give an example, and I know some friends listen to this, and I know I'm a loyal friend, and hopefully they know I am. But sometimes people will say to me, oh, do you fancy going to the pub tomorrow night?
No.
And yeah, they wouldn't be friends with you. Do you fancy going to the pub tomorrow night? And I'm like, if you think that I can drop everything to go to the pub tomorrow night, you haven't understood what I've been doing for the last 6 years. And you needed to ask me last week. And one friend in particular, I know that's upsetting at the moment. And
my brother's the same. My brother can't understand, or in fact, thinks it's just not natural or good for me to live my life by my diary.
I've got no choice.
But he's like, I said, Pete, you're a teacher. You got 8 weeks off for summer. You could do what you want. I don't get. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not saying that teaching's an easy job. Bloody far from it. Dealing with little shits all day, but you could literally do what you want in the summer. I can't.
Yeah. One thing I would advocate for a business owner is to block free time into your diary. That's an important thing to do.
But again, it comes down to the diary, doesn't it? It still has to be regimented.
Yeah. So if my friend was to say to me, could we go to the pub every other Tuesday? I could deal with that. That's fine. Oh, yeah, great. I mean, I understand people don't like organised fun.
I think you'd be too anxious in the pub at the moment anyway. Lots of people around. They won't be socially distancing.
Oh, I don't mind a pub garden. I've been to a few pub gardens and stuff where
It's getting cold now.
I'll put a coat on.
I suppose so.
You know what I'm like? I sit under the aircon. I don't feel the cold.
We haven't had too many aircon battles this year. Well, I suppose we haven't been in the office for half of it.
Well, got rid of the penguins.
Yeah, the optimal
I suppose
office
penguins
temperature.
like the cold. So who doesn't like snakes?
What do we say? Was it between 19 and 21 degrees? Is that right?
Yeah.
So we literally had to Google that so we could say to some people,
Come on, guys, it can't be on 27.
Yeah, I can't come in in my shorts in December.
Yeah. Right. So we've got
What are we talking about?
something about
So,
responsibility. So number one was about
back.
giving. Number two was about knowing when to say no.
Yeah, which is a responsibility some people just wouldn't want, I think.
It's horrible saying no until it becomes empowering.
My dad said yes to so many of who I'd class. Now, my dad did loads of things right in his life, don't get me wrong. Did more good than I'll ever do. But he said yes to so many of the wrong people. It cost him time with his family. And again, that's the only thing he regretted when he got ill at the end, was that he wasn't better. He didn't prioritise his time with his family. And to be honest, I think that's probably a regret that everyone will have. No matter if they spend loads of time with their family, they'll probably still think, oh, did I spend enough though? Did I go for walks enough with them? Whatever it might be. Did I go on enough holidays with them? But he said yes to, even when I was a kid, I'd see him saying yes to people who I knew wouldn't give a fuck about him.
Well, you've seen me do that.
Yeah. But now me and you are at a nice place where I can tell you that. But it's not nice to see people get taken advantage of, whether that's maliciously or innocently. If you see someone who's like, oh, yeah, but you were asking to do something that you would never do for them yourself, that's just not something I'd like to do. It's not nice.
I've got an example that this isn't. I'm sure this isn't something your dad would do, but and they certainly won't listen to the podcast. But I was fuming about it at the weekend because I just thought, but fuming in the way where you're laughing but raging inside.
Is it Shrewsbury Town score?
No, they're not playing at the moment. Didn't affect.
Hang
me.
on. What do you mean they're not playing at the moment?
The season hasn't started.
September?
Yeah, it's all delayed. There's a global pandemic.
Right. Why does everyone say global pandemic? Isn't pandemic global by its name, or was that wrong?
Can you not have a national pandemic?
I don't think so.
Because it's not panning anything.
Because everyone's saying like global pandemic. Well,
there was a SARS was an Asian pandemic, wasn't it?
Don't know. Bet you know what that stands for.
SARS.
Yeah.
Something acute respiratory syndrome.
Oh, it's respiratory. Yeah, I should have known it'd be that. Do you know what DNA stands for?
Deoxy nucleic
ribonucleic acid. Yeah.
So you thought you got me.
That's a doctor, you see.
Right. Anyway, we have a village Facebook group.
Oh God, not this bloody village. I tell you, if I knew your Facebook password, I'd go in and I'd bloody take you out.
Oh no, it's become entertainment. So one of the neighbours said, does anyone have a Go Outdoors card? I've seen a brilliant deal on a tent.
Go Outdoors, isn't that owned by Mike Ashley?
Probably.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
He owns everything now.
Yeah.
But so does anyone have a Go Outdoors loyalty card? I've seen a brilliant deal on a tent. Okay. So in my mind, I was like, oh, the loyalty cards must be free. They can't be asked to register for one. They want to borrow one off one of the neighbours.
So what? I'll just give you my loyalty card. Off you go. You come back and give it back to me. And
okay. I knew you wouldn't understand, but
very trusting.
Anyway, someone commented underneath, why don't you just get your own? They're only £5 on the website, instant registration.
Yeah, sorry about that. I should have commented.
which I was like, oh right, great. They're only £5. They're probably saving £80 on this tent. Who wouldn't do that?
Right.
She comments back, oh, I thought they'd be like £100 or something, so I was just hoping I could borrow one. Hang on. So you're quite happy for someone else to pay £100 for a loyalty card and then lend it to you? Go fuck yourself. That's ridiculous.
Did this debate go on?
No, that was it.
Thank God.
I don't even know these people, and I'm in my house pissing myself, laughing, but absolutely raging at the self-entitlement of that situation, and just. Yeah, it blows my mind.
I see friends post it. Now, obviously, money's important to everyone, and someone's idea of expensive is not necessarily everyone's idea of expensive. But it does puzzle me when I see friends or social media friends who are well off, and they're on Facebook saying, does anyone have any wellies I can borrow for my 7-year-old for the weekend? And it's like, well,
doesn't every 7-year-old have wellies? I realise.
And we live in Shropshire. It's like literally a rural bloody county. You can buy a pair of fucking Dunlop wellies for £10, and you're on Facebook.
Surely, if you've got a 7-year-old, Andy, come on, let's be real. You buy the wellies with the little frog's eyes on.
No idea what you're talking about.
You've never seen the wellies that look like frogs?
My kids are normal. They had Marvel wellies. Marvel wellies, which brings us back nicely to Spider-Man.
Okay. That's acceptable. But when I was a kid, you could get wellies, because wellies were traditionally green. I realise now they're all fancy.
Oh yeah, I've got black ones.
Yeah.
With green down the
with
side.
a lining in or something.
Yeah, not Hunter, Barber.
Yeah, whatever. Green wellies, and to jazz them up, and it might have been Dunlop that did it. They just put 2 eyes on the front.
Oh right, okay. Yeah,
So like that was like the height of sophistication for me when I was 7. I want those, but I had plain ones.
Okay. So you oh, here we go. I'm surprised you had wellies at all.
Drew my own eyes on.
Walked around in bare feet, but my bare feet had these little eyes. I'd drawn on with a Sharpie.
We had a funny. I don't know what this has got to do with responsibility,
Okay.
but it's brilliant for the podcast. We had a chat in the office earlier about party buffets.
Right.
So Georgia went to a birthday party yesterday, and she'd been socially distanced birthday party, I might add, and she'd been zip wiring in the day, and then they went and had a buffet with just a small group of people outdoors in the evening.
Right.
I was like, was it a proper buffet or a buffet? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, they're like party rings, and hang on. I was like, was there party rings, like a cheese and pineapple hedgehog, some chocolate Rice Krispie cakes, and some sandwiches cut into triangles, or was it vol au vents, smoked salmon? And she was like, oh no, it was the first one. I was like, oh, that sounds brilliant. Emily in the office looks at me like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, I like it when you go and there's like a mixed selection of Indian and Chinese things and some tapas. And I was like, yeah, that's not a party buffet. I was like, I'm a big advocate of ice gems, party rings, a Rice Krispie cake.
I mean, what did people do? Was it like halved an orange, wrapped it in foil, and then stuck cocktail sticks in it with like cheese and pineapple?
Yeah, so or like you do it with a potato and make like
if you'd said that to Emily, she'd think you're just being stupid. What on earth are you talking about? But party rings, I've got to say, all they do is rub the skin at the top of your eyes. Like travel sweets we talked about the other day.
But they are good.
Don't like them.
Really? Yeah. Do you not like ice gems either?
What are they?
They're like little tiny biscuits with a piece of pointy icing on.
Oh yes, but they're tiny, aren't they? Yeah, no, I quite like them.
Yeah,
but I do like as I got older. I like a vol au vent, mushroom vol au vent.
Well, you've reached a new level of sophistication.
Well,
like me, aspiring for my frog wellies. That's where this has come from.
Don't let the hoodie fool you. I'm a sophisticated man. No, where were we? Right, wellies. Right. Why would someone who owns a Range Rover and goes on about, well, not goes on about, but makes it pretty clear that hashtag living my best life, all that shit, and then they want to borrow a pair of wellies? Is that just prioritising your costs, or is that just attention seeking? Like, oh, wellies, oh, where are you going, hun? But that's something else that winds us both up, isn't it? People who can't use bloody Google properly.
Take responsibility.
Does anyone know any good bathroom designers? Oh, I wish I could afford a new bathroom, hun. Oh, oh, you're so lucky, hun.
I'm waiting for you to put that out. You're about to have a new bathroom.
New ensuite?
Yeah. Ensuite.
Yeah. Does anyone know any good tilers? Preferably porcelain or something. Fuck off.
Yeah. How many bathrooms have you got? How many of those are en suite? Oh, I didn't even know what en suite was.
Believe it or not, we actually do work in social media marketing, so I must stress that it does far more good than bad. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Facebook groups, and every time you talk to me about your village Facebook group reminds me why. Because sometimes clients will say, "Oh, should we have a Facebook group for our clients and prospects?" And no, not unless you want to literally give up your life to police idiots.
It's become like Father Ted for me. It's like an episode of Father Ted every day.
As long as you're generally laughing and not getting wound up.
I screenshot it now and send it to my brother so he can laugh at it too, because he's not on Facebook because he thinks it's bad for him.
See, well, you know my dislike of reality TV in the early stages of a competition, because I don't like seeing people make idiots of themselves.
That's where you are.
It's the same on Facebook groups. When I see people make idiots or come under fire when they're probably just naively asking a stupid question and someone really has a go at them, I find that sad.
Hey, it's Georgia at Codebreak. Thanks for listening to the Stay Hungry podcast. If you're hungry for more, don't forget to check out all the free marketing content on codebreak.co.uk.
Trying to work out where her accent's from, really.
She's Scouse, isn't she?
Yeah, but it's got a hodgepodge, isn't it? Because
she's really from Telford, but surrounded by Scousers. So,
and she's lived in Australia. She's quite travelled, isn't she? Really?
Yeah, she's more cultured than I am. It's true.
Well, it's not overly difficult with you.
I was waiting for that.
Your hand-drawn wellies and your bare feet.
Tremendous amount of culture in my life, Andy. It's just culture that you haven't experienced.
So where were we? Facebook groups.
Take responsibility for your actions. That's your third one, isn't it? That's where we're going with this.
Yeah. And so if you are genuinely asking a question or asking for help on social media and you come under fire, is that something you need to take responsibility for? Or it's like, no, there are just some idiots out there who they've got no right. When you're genuinely asking for help, you're not asking to borrow a pair of wellies or a Go Outdoors loyalty card. You genuinely need help and assistance with something. You ask, and people have a go at you. Is that just no? You've got to accept it. Like if you're going to put something out there publicly, that is a responsibility. Now I know it's not fair, but you know what? Life's not fair. Which way?
I think whatever you put out in the world, whether it's social media, press release, whether it's
I've got one for you. Go on.
whether it's talking to someone in the street, speaking to someone in the pub, you need to own what you're saying. And I've made mistakes with this. I can pinpoint an example where I was at a networking group of all the places to do this. I got very drunk. It's called Thirsty Thursday.
Which one was that?
It's called Thirsty Thursday. So
I wasn't there for that one.
No. But I said something I shouldn't have said, and it was out of character as well. And basically, I rang the people the next day and apologised.
I don't think I know this one.
Took responsibility for my actions because I think I was trying to be funny. I'd had a few too many to drink. I'm not that funny anyway, so it's not.
No, that's true. That's true.
So it's not the best idea.
But some people out there they wouldn't take responsibility. They'd blame the alcohol.
Yeah, so I woke up the next morning and my wife told me what I'd said. That's what I don't remember.
God, Hannah was there.
Yeah. I don't remember, and I don't remember saying that. So we definitely did. And Georgia was there too.
Oh God.
So I said to Georgia, who
Anyone wasn't there?
yeah,
Apart
I
from me.
said, did this happen? Is this how it happened? Yeah, that happened. That's how it happened.
Oh.
Right, okay, I've dropped a clanger there. I need to speak to all the people that witnessed it and apologise. And I did.
Brilliant. Didn't John blame anything else? Anyone else?
No, I just said, it's a stupid thing to say. Don't even think it. I was drunk. I'm very, very sorry. Realise you might think I'm a dick now.
See, I think a lot of people, their default position is to, what can I blame? Oh, it was the alcohol. Oh, it was this.
I was on
it was that.
medication.
Or
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
something
yeah.
else. It was now, I've got, right, okay, here's one. Along these lines, we're recruiting, and we've recruited in the past. And a quick tip for people out there listening, if you hadn't guessed, if you're applying for jobs, one of the first things your potential new employer will do is go check you out on social media. So, where do you stand if you go and check them out on, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook or something, and you just basically see feeds full of...
You're going to say like nudity
Not
now?
nudity, I wasn't going to mention that at all, but you brought it up now.
My fault.
Pictures that you think, oh, God, am I just getting old, or is this the state of the world? Or actually, if you're going to post stuff like that and apply for jobs, here's one. When you're applying for jobs, make your accounts private, because the impression a lot of business owners will get is someone who doesn't take themselves seriously. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Okay, that's sitting on the fence. Come on.
Okay. No, then.
Okay. Am I just old?
I would say...
Post what you want, free will.
I know who you're talking about for one. So I know...
There's many.
Okay, but we've had a very specific example recently.
Okay.
And it's happened twice in 3 days, actually. But there will be a business out there for them. So if that's their genuine voice, genuinely who they are, if they're that gregarious...
Love Island.
Well,
Yeah.
But if they're that confident, that gregarious, that kind of out there with their image and their tone, and there'll be a business out there that thinks that's appropriate and okay. But don't be offended when a business that doesn't think that's okay doesn't get back in touch with you. And it's a really, really tricky one because values and everything have changed now. So I was talking to someone about this earlier. Like in this particular example, this person is showing off everything they've got for the world to see. And also, they're doing it with kind of like a I don't give a shit attitude. Like the tone of their posts and everything is all about like this. And I kind of have some respect for that because you've got to have a certain amount of confidence to do it. But it's not gonna ring true with 8 out of 10 businesses, and you have to accept that you're gonna have to apply for a lot more jobs to find the one that they go, bloody hell, you've got something about you. There's a spark there, and that would be the same for someone whose feed is full of racing cars, or someone whose feed is full of movie references, or whose feed is full of them doing martial arts. There'll be plenty of business owners out there like, well, I don't really like combat sports,
So that is taking responsibility then, isn't it? What you post on social media, especially if you haven't got your accounts locked, is there for the world to see.
Yeah, so
And if you say something, so we had a client who was looking for a chef, recruited for a chef, and a guy asked about the job through Facebook. First thing my client did was check them out on Facebook, and their feed was full of racist stuff. So when this guy quite aggressively said, "Well, are you going to fucking get back to me or not?" No, why not? And my client told him, because your feed's full. Well, that's private stuff. You can't blah blah blah. It's like no. You've got if you want to have those views. It's a free world. You ain't getting a job here.
Take responsibility for them.
Deal with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, my approach, my Instagram and my Facebook are private, mostly because I post. The general use for them is, I don't see, my family are quite spread out. I don't see them all that often. If I do something nice, I post it on there, and my nan can have a look, my mum can have a look, my auntie can have a look.
I just say to my kids, don't post anything on social media. You won't be happy to be on the front of the Shropshire Star.
Yeah, which is fair. But my approach there is basically that's private stuff. It's not particularly divisive. Nobody would look at my stuff and they might get a bit annoyed very much Shrewsbury Town content.
Have you locked your content?
Yeah, I'd say people would get a bit frustrated with how much Shrewsbury Town content I post. Other than that, my Twitter public, and I generally comment on football and movie stuff on there, a bit of music, and guess what? I get interaction from people interested in football, movies, music. My LinkedIn, very, very public facing. Keep it entirely professional. I might occasionally make
there's a whole podcast there.
Yeah, but I might occasionally make a personal reference, but I will pull it back to, and therefore that's why my values are this, or whatever it might be. I think if you're applying for jobs, it's your digital CV.
And that's something else where it's hard to say no, because we've had people apply for jobs in the past and they haven't qualified, and which is within their rights to ask, why they didn't get selected, and we tell them. And I'd say about 3/4 of the time they won't have it. Oh, well, I was under pressure. Oh, I was this, I was that. It's like, no. Take responsibility.
Yeah.
It's if we asked you to, I don't know, send us an email or write us a letter, and let's say there were typos in it, and no, I was busy, I was late, I had to do an extra shift at work. That is of no concern of mine. Get a friend who can spell to check it. Have someone else look at it. Run it through Grammarly. There's part of this job is copywriting.
Yeah.
So, and that whole thing about excuses. Sometimes there are genuine reasons, but it's like, no, you've got to take responsibility, and it's so hard. And I don't know whether some people just don't and never will. It's just part of their nature because it's how they've been brought up. Whatever, it's always the man's fault. It's always society's fault. That's how they've been brought up, to always have excuses.
I used to hate saying sorry. I think as a teenager in particular, which I think is a teen trait, is you get a bit angsty. But how empowering it is now. If I drop a clanger and just say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to. It's really empowering to just sort of be, I'm not saying you can just be a dickhead and then say sorry all the time. That's absolutely not okay. But if someone generally has got a feel for what you're about, and you do something out of character and you say sorry, or you make a mistake you wouldn't normally make, oh, I'm sorry. People will respect that a lot more than you saying, oh, well, the wind was blowing the wrong way that day.
We do see a lot of this in business. So here's another one then. Would you say it's more prevalent in certain age groups, or are you just seeing this happen everywhere now?
Everywhere, undoubtedly. That
Why?
I think we're in an age, probably led by media and politics, of facts don't really matter. Mm-hmm. And because facts don't matter, even if you can say to someone, you did that wrong, and the reason you did it wrong is this, they'll turn around and say, no, it wasn't. Well, I know it was. You put the password in wrong 3 times, you locked out of the account now. The whole company's locked out of the account. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. We've got CCTV of you doing that. But we seem to sort of, I mean, we've mentioned Trump before, but I'd say he's a prime example of that. There's evidence of him doing something, and he'll go on camera and say, I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Or celebrities that have. There's a footballer called Kyle Walker who plays right back for England. He went to 2 parties during lockdown.
Right.
He's apologised now because he's just been called up for England again. But that happened in May.
Right.
It's September now. Where was your apology in May? Why did you do it again?
And what did he say?
And what are you teaching the millions of people that follow you on Instagram?
Did he take responsibility?
He has now.
Only because he got selected for England?
I think so.
Wow.
And that really frustrates me because
And not a good example to set to all his fans. Then.
Yeah, you're on a pedestal as one of the best footballers in the world, and if you play for England, just take responsibility. The first time, I'll forgive you. So, I'm sorry, I made a bad choice. Yeah, you did. If you do it twice, you're just an idiot.
Yeah.
And
And then everyone can move on as well, because sometimes you just dig a hole for yourself. And if this is publicly happening on social media, for example, no one will win, and you'll look a bit of a tit.
So the long and short of it for me is, depending on what you align yourself with, so whether it's you align yourself with politics, so right-wing or left-wing politics, or you align yourself with footballers, or you align yourself with Love Island contestants, or whatever it might be, if they're doing it, and they're Teflon about it, how does society stand a chance? There's very few people being taught to just put their hands up and say, balls up there, really, really sorry. And it's something I thought about yesterday. So I'm fairly left-leaning, but the government have been making a lot of U-turns lately, and obviously we've got a right-wing government at the minute, making a lot of U-turns. So they made a U-turn on the exam situation. They made a U-turn on masks in public places, things like that. But the sensible side of me says, well, I would much rather they see they've done something wrong and change their minds than stick to their guns stubbornly. So I don't like it when politicians bash each other about U-turns, because surely the bravest thing you could do in politics is to make a U-turn, admit you were wrong, and try and put it right. And that.
I mean, we have it with, staff here. We've got staff of different ages, but we want to empower them, whether they're 18 or 30. It's like, but some people might not want that power, and that's something you've got to identify, hopefully, at the interview stage, is that we're a business that wants to empower people to have responsibility for, I don't know, Instagram stories or something. Yeah. So you get that. That's your baby. It's something great to have on your CV that you're an Instagram accredited content creator, whatever it might be. But also, if you've been taught a certain way, and if you learn certain things should be done this way and not that way, and you make a mistake, you have to take ownership of that. Yeah. And that's something that we have to spell out, because again, you can't want the power without the responsibility.
Yeah. We've nailed it, haven't we?
I think so. Hopefully, for once.
Oof.